What's up, YouTube? Hopefully, you can hear me pretty good. Got my headphones in. Should be picking up on my mic pretty good. A lot of crazy stuff I've been saying, huh? Well, let me redirect you to something. I don't know if you want to consider it an olive branch or clarity or just a reminder, but all these crazy things with the government, Epstein, Charlie, the lady on the train. Sorry, I just don't want to butcher her name. Irena. Sorry if I said it wrong. All this other stuff going on with the illegals, everything. Uh, I was saying this online. I believe it was Facebook first in 2000. I believe it was 14. I think that was the first time I ever got on Facebook. And yeah, uh, I started telling people about that stuff on there. You know, what I had known to be a fact myself at the time. If it was something I didn't know for a fact, but I kind of seen it lining up that in somewhat the direction of what it was saying, then I would say that it had a lot of truth to it, but I don't know. Um, Basically, what I'm pointing out is if I know it for a fact, if I've experienced it, seen it, watched it, it it will come out that I know this for a fact. Now, when I'm explaining the details of why it's going down, same thing. If I know for a fact that this person has done these things before, so it is like them or up their alley to do this type of thing, it doesn't mean that I expected it to go to that level. I'm just saying, I've seen them do similar things on a more mild level that matches the same, you know, actions and whatnot that it would take to pull this off. But what they did with it was caused a huge, way bigger problem applying whatever they did over here to what they were doing in this situation. I was put in a catch 22. I was. I didn't know it was this serious of a catch 22. Yeah, I really didn't think she had the balls. To kids, no. Me, I knew she'd probably try, but she wasn't going to do it herself. She was going to get other people to do it. Just the way she works. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But even though, I knew a lot of this stuff that was going on behind the scenes with the government and all that, I shared what I knew. And I kept an open mind to the stuff that I didn't know 100%, but it felt like the same. Not only that, in multiple videos and multiple comments, I would always say that I hated being right. And this is why. Because I see patterns and things that people do. And just like, detectives or uh, anybody like that does, that's how they end up with a really good, reputation. Yeah, it's not always what they learn, and that might critique what they're, really good at. But that's why a lot of them end up going into that because they have a knack for it. That's how you can see a knack for those types of things. Math, science, pays attention to detail. also is able to realistically think outside the box to connect dots. Realistically, not delusionally. Also, being able to spot the fact that somebody was using a delusional way of thinking to pull something off. That is using all the experiences that I've seen other people do when I was younger or as I've gotten older. Just like anybody else that builds a reference book on how to handle life. A lot of times you use your past and your memories to help you with future things that are going on. Hey, I've seen that before. This is what happened when I've seen it before. Looks like it's the same thing again, just in a different spot. Yeah, that would basically be like, the memory game where you flip cards over and then you try to remember where all the matches are. Things like that. That's a real mild version. But people that are really good at that usually are really good at this kind of stuff. This is in majorities, of course. This isn't every individual. And what I mean by every individual, since I have to explain everything, is I mean the individuals that show that they're capable of this to some degree. Some are able to fake it, some are able to actually do it. But I do notice that lies, manipulation are taken way quicker as truth. I don't know if it's people being lazy. I don't know if it's just, you know, them trying to push an agenda, which it might be a mixture of all that, all depending on who you're dealing with. But I've seen this throughout my life. Yeah, I've seen terrible people end up getting things and positions that they should not get. And everybody around me seen the same things that I did. So I was just wondering through my life, like, really? So the more of an a-hole you are and the better you look to the public is what people want. That's insane. And I mean a genuine somebody you don't even want having those types of ideas out in the world type a-hole. Like Satanists. And, you know, you notice how that's where it started of them using the Constitution to do what they wanted. Or you also start to understand why the Statue of Liberty is basically the lady clothed in scarlet. That's Lady Liberty on the back of that beast with two horns. The beast with two horns is our government. It means that America and its perversions to be liberated from God and his laws are riding the back of the government. Now, the beast that rises up out of the sea, which means it has to be from somewhere other than the United States because that's the United States with the beast. It can also be rising up out of the sea of people, which would be Europe or, that area. Because look at how many countries are all connected right there. Just about all of them, really. Just about. Other than, a few. But look how many are connected right there. That's a sea of people. Now, there is a creature that comes out of that with 10 horns. One is uprooted, and then one with a face is put in his place. Starting to second guess that. I think it's the one with the face is uprooted, and another one with a face is put in his place. I used to think that was the Pope. You know how he was always going around making sure everybody's seen him, and then he would get replaced, and then a new Pope would come in. So I took that as the Pope and the 10 elites, the 10 richest families that all seem, most of them seem to follow the Catholic or the Vatican. Now, I don't want to keep saying that Catholic was the wrong religion because just like Christianity, it was taken over and perverted. So I don't know if there was a Catholic religion before that, but I do know the Roman Catholic is where I know that to come from. So anything Roman, no. I don't care if it seems like the best thing in the world to do. Sounds like manipulation, just like anything Sodom and Gomorrah should be an absolute no. Anything from Babylonian should be absolute no. But instead, it's the opposite. It's all been accepted, and everything else is basically said no to. This is how you know your government is that beast system. Oh, there's plenty of things that show it. The Freemasons, the 33rd degree Freemason that came from Britain Masonry and started American Masonry, and then built a whole security system to protect the elites and make the slaves work. That's what they did. You got colored people thinking that they were the only slaves and that white people did it all, which your own people enslaved you. Your own people sold you, just like us. Our own people enslaved us. Our own people sold us. Irish, same thing. Jewish, pretty much same thing. Well, that was Hitler. Oh, yeah? Did you ever notice that there was a certain group of Jews that he didn't go after? Yeah, the same move that the bad Jews did to Jesus. The same move. Here you go. Right. Does everybody also know that Hitler was actually a very good leader until the CIA, which wasn't called the CIA at that time, got him to do meth and LSD. Then he became this dictator. That was back in the 40s. That was like around 40, 41. Because around 42 or 43, somewhere in that area, I might not have it exact, but that's when he started going radical. If you think about it, it might not have been recorded properly. Could have started in 38, 39. I'm thinking about 4 or 5 years before the war and all the mayhem that he did started, or at least, a few years before that. Could have been a couple months, who knows? But I'm just saying what I think the timeline is. But regardless, he was put on drugs as an experiment. Then they started using it. That's where they got the idea to use it for the soldiers, was because of him. At one time, drugs and all that were told to be grown by farmers, weed, opium, all of it, and they used it. And I think that's what they used to build Big Pharma. And then they outlawed anybody else doing it so they could be the ones to distribute. Just like I kind of think not only did the Democrats let these immigrants in here, but I think it's just a play. Even though they're doing it, back and forth, the fighting, taking people out. You guys got to understand these situations could be constructed by a small group to go to either side and get them agitated to where they start doing this, and really they have a sinister plan and want doesn't matter who wins. It's going to give them depopulation. It's going to bring the price of land down if that's what their game is, which it could be. Not saying it is, but it could be. And then they step back and let all these people do what they want done. Now, what are they doing behind the scenes? Coming in, taking children, saying it's for, because they deserve a better life. And then the next thing you know, foster home or CPS hurts them or gives them to somebody that hurts them. That's what I'm talking about. It's all depopulation. What is another thing that aligns with depopulation? Satanists and what Satan wants, right? Everybody dead. Right. This is what I mean. How come you guys are not connecting these dots? They're right there. Um, how the good book talks about their plan, their sinister plan that will get a lot of people deceived and hurt a lot of people. Look around. Step back and look at everything. Look around real good. Get your head out of whatever the internet's taught you. I don't care what you think your beliefs are. Step back and look at everything with a clear head with none of that bothering it. Just look at it for what it is, the actions. Not the words, actions. You're going to see both sides are playing basically a movie script in front of you, and they're still killing people in front of you. Sides are starting to root for it. Do you see that? This is the same thing they did to you on your cell phone. We want to chip you, but we know you're not going to accept it. So we're going to disguise it, part of it, as this cute little toy that you can talk to people, you can take pictures, you can play music, has all kinds of lights, sounds, and distractions. Oh yeah? What do they consider it doing if you use it while you're driving? Distracted. It's a distraction. It's not only a distraction, it's also eyes, ears, and tracking. Why do you think they started giving them out for free? Yeah. What did they slowly do? Made it to where you couldn't take the battery out. Even the ones that you could take a battery out. Do you realize why they had a watch battery on the board? It's a backup battery. Just enough power that they can get your information and then run it on a different device. Y'all gotta come on, man. This is what I mean when they say they don't know what happened here or there, especially if it's something that was going down over the internet or over text message or with vehicles. They have tracking, sound, and video. But if they show you that, then you're going to know that they can watch you all and they're listening to you all the time. Yeah. What else is that? This all seeing eye of horrors. Of course, everybody thinks, well, that's just a seeing eye. It doesn't mean that horrors can hear us. How do you know? How do you know what any of that stands for other than the fact that they can see and understand what you're doing? Let's say all they could do is see into your house and your life and see everything. Do you really think they need audio? No. All they need is surroundings. All they need is to watch your patterns. They're planning something. If they're mapping your movements, step counter, all this fancy stuff, then obviously they're mapping you. Why are they mapping you? called intel. It's a military tactic to watch your enemy, everything they do, and gather intel. That way, when you're planning a strike, you know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, all of it. What has happened? We have been hit by strike after strike after strike, and because people believe this and other people don't believe that, and we'll start fighting each other over it, they're back there just continuously doing it. And everybody's still in this huddle, each other. You know what they're mad about? We're not taking each other's lives as quick as they want us to. Yes, I think that's why the scare of the gravity shutting off for 7 seconds. Let's say they do that. How do we know that wasn't CERN? How do we know that's not the stuff that Elon keeps shooting up into the heavens? Right. We don't. How do we know that car doesn't have something to do with this? We don't. Right. Don't we have enough space trash up there? Isn't that like one of the jobs they were looking for? Even though I had a solution for that. Oh, yeah, I did. I had a couple of them, actually. I ain't telling you. Well, naysayers can think what they want. I really have plenty of ideas for that. Well, see, when I was younger, like I said, I've been taught how to use things, even in poor condition, make them work. So that's why I can take the most basic of stuff, make it do what I need to do, and by gathering what I needed to grab or get or do, I will find a way to do something with that. Just like that tunnel machine that they came up with, so they wouldn't have to truck out material. They made it to where that machine would add water and this and that and turn it into concrete or structure as it went. That way there was nothing to get rid of. Yeah, that machine is right up my alley of how I would have handled that situation. It is. This is the kind of stuff me and my son Talon would talk about. We had already came out with our up with the robotic lawnmower, multiple versions, a commercial version, a really, cheap and family friendly version, a version that had sensors on it that if any animal or anything got close to it, it would shut down and it would just wait until it moved away from the area or out of the sensor range, and then it would move and continue with whatever pattern it had left. Um, he was the one that came up with using robots and that we should build them and all that before Elon or any one of them started doing it, or even talking that, bringing that to our attention. Now they might have started or had the ideas decades ago with Terminator and all that, but I'm just saying Talon was one of the ones that thought of it on his own, and the details he would come up with. He even knew how to draw the gearing to make it work the way he wanted it to work. Yeah, tooth ratio, shape, uh, all that. If it had to have, you know, boards or sensors or some type of other type of movement set up to make it work better, either, hydraulic arms or this or that or the other. He was very, very good at coming up with anything like that. Which, yeah, I know a lot of people are, but, you know, as in compared to the world, there is a good amount of people that are able to do a lot of good stuff like that. Some of them, it seems good, but it's not good. But that's the problem. And I had to break it to him that I felt that was going to be us putting things out there that would turn us into Skynet or Terminator. I didn't tell him that. I just said, I believe that's not going to turn out too well if we do that. And he's like, why? I said, because it might be a success, which I believe it would be, but you got to understand, you have billions of people that once they see it or maybe have an idea that's close to it, they might get upset. They might, start doing things a different way with the way they think about building stuff. Uh, I know they'll probably put it in military. Once it gets in the military, all bets are off. And that's when, he would bring up the Predator drones and all that. And I said, yeah, that's them already toying with it. And I'm telling you right now it looks like good job, but all it takes is for them to not stay on the right side of the line. Then we have a huge problem. And look at where we're at today. Looks like they're way across that line, isn't it? Looks like they came up with all this stuff because they knew we were going to find out about them being across that line. It also looks like this new gay community, the alphabet community, and the Democrats, not saying the Republicans didn't have anything to do with it, even though they acted like they were against it, they were only doing that to play to the side that didn't like it. It was still accepted, it was still done, and I believe it was a test trial to see if we were going to accept their pervertedness. And we didn't. Even though I believe a lot of those Republicans or who claim to be Republicans, I believe a lot of them were secretly doing it as well. And I believe when we stood up like we did, they were like, oh shit, we really thought this was going to go the other way. And it didn't. I really think that they were trying to pull that veil over our eyes. And we have to be careful because if they tried it that way and we didn't accept it, who's to say they ain't going to try it a different way? Why they're trying to do the sinister stuff, because it looks like they're already in motion with that. And yeah, I think they tried to send what they did to Charlie as a message to anybody that was against it. You have to be careful talking like that because this could happen to you while you're out. Do you realize how much of a blessing that would be right now? I mean, yeah, they might get what they want because they, manipulated in that instant. That doesn't mean that they are right. Yes, that will be a emotional hell that they're going to have to suffer once they see the truth and they can't lie or manipulate around it. That's coming. It's inevitable. It's coming. They don't believe it is. See, back in the 80s and 90s, this fantasy versus reality was known, and there was a lot of doctors and therapists that said that this was a very, very, very sinister disability. That this disability is so unpredictable. They don't even know if there's a medicine that people can take for it. They don't know if was any cure. They've tried things, but obviously didn't work. Maybe the reason why it didn't work is because the same medicine you're trying to throw at a demonic thing is demonic. Maybe that's why it doesn't work. That's like trying to throw a demon at the devil and say, get him. As soon as you throw it, it's going to turn around and team up with him. Just saying, if that was possible, it's kind of like that. You're basically trying to throw something evil at something evil to defend against something evil. It's going to regroup as together and come back at you. So all you're doing is basically putting yourself in a catch 22 where you're going to lose no matter what you do. Yes, that same little thought there could be used about these people that think a pentagram is going to protect them. The only reason why a pentagram seems to protect you right now is because the devil is using you. That's why you seem to be getting everything you want. He is charming you up for a big fall. This is like the worst gold digger ever. This is called love bombing, creating a delusional reality where you think everything is fine. What do you do to a child before you get them stuck with a needle? Giving them a false reality where they believe everything is fine, right? Yeah. What do you do when somebody's in a very serious situation and they don't need to see everything around them? You distract them with a delusional situation so they think everything is okay. Government's doing it, devil's doing it, law enforcement's doing it. We, as rich or poor, are doing it to each other. Fantasy versus reality, right there. That's where manipulation is rooted. That's where sleight of hand is rooted. That's where all these demonic things that people do are rooted, right there. And what do? They try to act like you are the one that's delusional, they are right, and you are wrong. What does that do? Turn it into a 5-year old fight where if somebody were to walk up on that situation that doesn't know either side, it all depends on what they choose to believe at that point, right? Yeah. What if the person walking up on the situation was already on the other side, the wrong side? What happens when they act like they are neutral and then deliberately lie against the truth so the other side wins? That would be taking a delusional reality and making it seem like it is reality by saying, yes, this happened. Or no, that didn't happen. When it did or didn't, and you're saying the opposite. And that other person's mind that is trusting you to tell them whatever you say, and they are looking at you to be the one to answer. Yes, there are other details, of course, but this is the majority of it. One, they either want to work off their benefit of the doubt, or they want a secret person like that they know is going to side with them secretly. This is how evil has been able to lie, manipulate, and get to the level that it's at. Because this is how people, whether they know it or not, or is accepting a delusional reality that was formed by a demonic presence. It's basically like that green gas in Ice Age. Comes in, distracts you because it's there, makes you laugh and laugh and laugh. Next thing you know it, you're gone. Well, that seems like a biological warfare. Yeah. Who said it wasn't? You don't know what they have. I know for a fact that Iran showed that they could come over here with a briefcase, open it in a park, and take out a whole city. Nobody'd ever see it. Anybody paying attention to that? Is our country being protected from that? No. And what's funny is people think that, oh, well, you know, what's the odds of that happening? You don't think your enemy's looking at that? You don't think they're watching everything that you're not paying attention to? That would be considered a weakness. And yeah, that's exactly what they're looking for. What happens when your government plays like they're helping, but really, behind the scenes, they're giving out all the keys? Here, go do this. Here, go do that. Here, go do this. Oh, yeah, we'll act like we're against it, but really, nothing will happen. Something like that. That would be considered scripted, theatrical, movie like. Fact is, they're all a part of it. All a part of it. All of them. All of them. All of them. And what I mean by all of them is 95% of our government and the elites are damn sure uh, responsible for this. And I'm not just talking about the US. Well, they're not called government. They are considered their government. Kings and queens are considered their government. That's who they're governed by. That's who they listen to. That's who makes the laws. That is governed. Stick with me here, people. Yes, that's for the people that wanted to start stuff. Anyway, the thing is, you don't have to believe me. All you have to do is check out what I'm saying and check it out in real life and on the internet. Match it up correctly. Be careful. They're going to manipulate you. Be careful. But I guarantee you, it's there. Ooh. Why would they let this out and do it this way? They want some of the people that are involved to appear innocent and like a white knight. So that way they are accepted into the side that wants to go against this. That way they have infiltration. Basically like a double agent. Yeah, they've been doing this for decades. You think they don't have a freaking contingency plan if stuff goes wrong? They do. You think they don't have what they consider a kill switch? Yeah, that's what LA was. That's a kill switch. As soon as they see certain people getting in trouble and certain things hit the headlines in the internet, guess what they're doing? Bam, bam, bam. Um, I'll have to look up his channel, but there's another guy. He's got long red curly hair, uh, red beard, and what he's doing is doing a skit in Pam Bondi's seat, like he is Pam Bondi and answering like she was. Uh, they show the victims that stood up on camera. Who's behind those cameras? Which I'm pretty sure they're going to play stupid even if they know more than you know what they know. But you got to be smarter. Um, because if they're supposed to be redacted so they wouldn't be hunted down, this, that, and the other, you guys are being stupid. Because these people know who they messed with. These people know who's still alive, and they know who's on their side through it and who's not. You really think that they're not going to hunt them down, whether their names are shown or not, for one? Let's say they didn't know who they were. They just showed them. And this guy is trying to act like, you know, he's getting on Pam Bondi for hiding it and yelling at her, for releasing the uh, victims' names, but then they show them on camera. You see what I mean? If you were really worried about that, you would have never shown that in your skit. See, that right there is another silent, let's play like I'm against this, but give them information. That's what Congress just did on both sides. See, the guy that was grilling Pam Bondi was trying to ignore all the recruiting women, even the blonde headed woman that he accidentally uncovered, and she was a recruiter. Then he went to West Les Wexler. Did you see that? And what did he keep repeating? The men, the men, the men, the men, the men, the men, the men. Let me tell you something. These are not men that did this. They're immature males, for one. Stop calling them men. For two, the males are not the only ones involved in this. There are plenty of women that did this willingly, including the girlfriend, the side chick girlfriend. I guess that's what we're going to call her because I thought Maxwell was his thing. But who knows with these sick people? Maybe they all were everybody's thing. Well, she was groomed. She was this. Let me tell you something. I've seen 10, 11, 12-year-old girls that were not groomed at all at that age go out and do this stuff. 13, 14. Yeah. Okay. So I know for a fact that a lot of them, even though they were young, probably stupid, didn't know what they were fully doing, they didn't care. They knew they were going to get drugs. They knew they were going to go to fancy parties. They knew they were going to get a lot of money. And they knew that they were a minor. So anything that they did, they weren't going to be looked at as, the, you know, one of the monsters. There's no way you can tell me that these young women weren't evil enough to go along with this and think it was a good thing to do until they got caught. Now, am I saying that for all these victims? No. But I am saying that for some of them because I know it. And I know that sounds heartless or whatnot, but that's the truth. I watched girls at a young age do the same thing without any interference of that. And I'm telling you, if they got this opportunity of somebody saying, hey, you can go massage old men and give them happy endings for money, drugs, alcohol, and you can meet famous people and go to parties, even though I understand they don't fully know what they're doing, they would still, I'm down. All of them? No. But a lot. Oh, well, some of them. I can't say a lot either because I don't know what the ratio would be. But I know for a fact there'd be a good bit that did. Now, am I saying that that's okay? No. What I'm saying is these are the ones that turn into like Naomi Campbell. These are the ones that turn into people like Oprah. These are the ones that turn into people like Ellen. Now, I don't know if they were doing this kind of stuff to them at a young age and they went along and all that. I'm just saying these are young girls that have that same little demon attitude to them. And they are very good at hiding it, just like some boys are. I'm not saying the boys are innocent either. But this is mainly seen in young girls that they will sneak out of the house, they will seek out drugs, alcohol, witchcraft parties, and think it's funny. Yes, they will. I know it. And I know it's a reality. I know it's a fact. I'm not arguing with anybody over it. I've, I've watched it with my own eyes. And it wasn't just a few times, it was multiple. it seem like at one point that's all they were going for. Yeah, they would even break up with you if you weren't like that. Trust me, I know that. They would also manipulate because they didn't want to come out and straight be like sleep with me because yeah, they know that even though they would manipulate it, you would start saying that, and they're afraid that somebody might believe it. So they try to play the. I'll try and ease them into him trying to ask me, and when that doesn't work, they get mad. They instantly think that there's something wrong with their looks, is why you're not doing this. Trust me, I've been there. I know. When you try to tell them it has nothing to do with your looks, I just don't want to do that. They get mad. They think you have somebody else. Then they start thinking something's wrong with them. Then they keep asking you, why, why, why? Is something wrong with me? Why? You got somebody on the side? Huh? This is what they think. You know, the next one really upsets me. Are you gay? Do you not like women? What? So it show you respect and self worth until you're like, screw it. Let's do something that I can pin on you later. Wow. Young ones, I know this is going to be hard for you, but if they do that, don't do it. And I've even done that. Thinking that it would show them that, look, I'm not here for that. It might be a bonus if we, make that type of connection, but that's not what I'm here for. And they would think that was so great, and that's what they would consider a type of fairy tale. And I'm like, no, this is the way it should be. Only reason why it seems like a fairy tale is because nobody does it. Yeah, Yvonne. I did the same thing with her. Sorry, Yvonne, but this little information is coming out. You can yell at me later. Oh man, I thought she was going to have me killed. You don't understand. I had so much respect for her dad. He already looked down on me because I was a dude. He thought everything bad that his daughter did, I was the result or the reason she was doing it, which, no, sir. No, sir. I was the one. What are you doing? You're going to get us killed or in trouble. Don't do that. She would smile at me and keep doing it. And don't you tell me that ain't her. She did the same thing to you. So don't even try it. But anyway, I went over there after she had asked me out. After Willie pulled his thing, trying to. Oh, he did. He tried to get me not to date her. And then he went behind my back while I wasn't around and told my mom that I took her away from him. I made fun of his weight and how big he was, or something along those lines. I heard some of it, but not all of it. I couldn't believe he did that. Yeah, she didn't ask him. And I guess technically, he either felt jealous and that's when he wanted her, or maybe he wanted to date her before. I don't know. He didn't say anything. And also, let me tell you something, bud. Not every girl in this world is yours. Okay, that's what he acts like. They're already his. Yeah, he used to tell, even try and rub it in my face. Man, when you get with a girl, you make them weird. I said, yeah, I bet I do. You put them in a delusional world where nothing is true. I show them reality. I do care for you, or I wouldn't be here. I'm not just here just so you think I care for you, so you can give me whatever you think guys want. I'm not here for that. That's not a joke. That's not a game. That's the truth. I don't want to do that. If I wanted to do that, I would be doing that. Anyway, Yvonne. They had, like I said, blackberry patch, right? Me and her are running through her yard, playing tag, goofing off, you know, rolling across the ground, wrestling, playing. You know, I'm wrestling with her two cousins, Mandy and Larry. I'm wrestling with her brother, and then they all went inside. Me and her still outside wrestling and playing around, chasing each other. Um, she chases me behind the blackberries. Of course, I slip, hit a pole, and go rolling down the fucking aisle. Yeah, it was funny. Everybody laughed. It was hilarious. Even I was laughing. Um, she jumped on top of me and put her shirt over my head. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "What?" I said, "No." I took her shirt off and put it down. I said, "One, you're going to get me killed. For two, we're not doing that." Yeah, her dad's on it, not too far on the other side of the field, messing with the tractor. You're trying to get me shot. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me killed. And yes, he would have done that. I would have been a mountain of dirt. Yeah, I would have. I know this fucking audience. Well, maybe that's what. Shut up. No, it's not. It really wasn't. I didn't want to go there. I was 15. I knew from watching my brother and sister do dumb shit that it always fell apart. It always turned into crap. So I'm like, and that's basically what started it. So I didn't want that. Well, whatever. To the people that want to run, I know they're going to do it. I just know. I get it everywhere. But whatever. Um, she starts getting upset shortly after that because I haven't made any type of sexual advances towards her after that. So she starts, I don't know if this was manipulation. Maybe you guys can tell me. I kind of feel it was now, but then seeing her face and being in the situation, I did not take it as manipulation. I was also young and dumb and not that good on manipulation. Okay, I was learning it and how to recognize it, but I wasn't an expert. And these women were very convincing, loving, facial expressions, body language, all that stuff seemed to match what they were saying. Maybe they were good at acting. Obviously, they must have been. But yeah, um, shortly after, I got hit for coming home late from Wendy's. Well, it wasn't late, but she considered it late. That's why I say coming home late. Because to her, she's going to say that, well, he came home late. And then if I were to say, I didn't come home late without explaining the times that it closes and what we have to do, you all would be like, well, he's lying. Or, he's hiding something. No. The reason why I say it wasn't late is because Wendy's at that time closed at 1 a.m. or later. Okay. So we did close at 1 a.m., by the way. But we weren't allowed to start cleaning and doing the heavy stuff that we have to do for our sparkle inspections, which is a big thing. You have to clean everything, the walls, fryers, everything, even underneath everything. Everything has to be sparkle. That's why you get that. And trust me, the manager and you all want the bonuses from it. So you're going to do it. It takes about a half hour, 45 minutes, as long as you keep up on little things throughout the week. But that's about it. And I happened to be there closing the night that we had to do that. And my sister worked there too. And like I said, it didn't help that the one girl there just completely made me look not good at all. Even though she wasn't, around me when I was smoking, she wasn't really around me when I was working. I was making sandwiches and working the grill. She was working drive through. That's just where the phone was. Um, yeah, she thought something was up with that girl. No. No. Sorry, Dave. Don't do that. I'm very good at telling girls no. Heather Cowden should know that. So should Brenda Klein. These are girls that I've dated, and yes, I've said I've dated multiple ones, but these are ones I don't really consider anything at all. We were never sexually active. We, me and Heather never dated. She just asked me out when I had already asked somebody else to the dance in middle school, and even though it wasn't really considered cheating or this or that, I just didn't want to do it. Well, yeah, at that time the girls would get upset, and even though it wasn't wrong to date multiple people, they didn't care. They'd still get upset and act like you were supposed to be only for them. So I respected that. They didn't, but I did. Oh yeah, I would even talk to them about it when I was, kind of dating Jamie. Me and her talked about it a couple times, and I guess she thought that meant that I wanted to date other girls, and I didn't. I was just speaking of the whole situation. That really is what dating means. You're supposed to go out with multiple people. You're not supposed to hide it. You're supposed to be like, hey, I'll be out with so and so, blah blah blah. You know, uh, and it's crazy how all that stuff got mixed up because you were supposed to start off at some type of friend level first. Of course, you first met. You're supposed to be friendly and see if you can tolerate each other as friends first. Then, through time, if you feel connection and really, like each other, then you might ask for, let's go out on a date, see how this goes that way. See the stages? Right. You're getting used to each other. You're making sure everything's good before you move to the next one. Everything good before you move to the next. These people didn't do that. They just delusionally moved into other stages. Well, you put the cart before the horse. Yeah, I got manipulated and they finally got me. Yeah. Did I lie about that? No. So, see, even I play the fool. Even these people, that seem like they're perfect, they play the fool too. Some of them, that's where they learned it, you know, just like I did. It's called experience. That's how you get wisdom. Well, why would you stay in a relationship like that? Because I thought I could fix it. That's why. And obviously, I was believing something from her because it felt genuine and seemed genuine that I was the only one that could make her feel right. Which that was another love bombing technique, which really fucks with my head because at times it seemed like I was the only one that could get through to her, get her back to on track. Pretty funny, I was able to do it with her brother. Yeah, me and Tony, I'd get him right back on track, no problem. Her, I don't know. Maybe she was scared of it. Maybe she thought it was boring, you know, not getting in trouble. Or I don't know. All I know is she fought it. She she said she wanted it, but her actions did not show that. Now, there's only one way to learn that. Try it. Did I want to try it with her? No, I really didn't. I didn't expect it to last 12 years either. Yeah, kept trying because I didn't want to keep giving up on relationships. I thought maybe that might be the reason. No, it wasn't. Which I never really gave up on the relationships. They did. I just gave up on trying to get them to stop messing with it. I never really gave up on the relationship and all that, as in the way they did. They gave up on it by sleeping with other people and causing the drift in between and then trying to blame it on somebody else. That's not the same. And anybody out there that's never cheated and been cheated on, you know what I'm talking about. Your heart was there with that person, but theirs wasn't. And people try to blame you, saying that you weren't in love or you didn't do what you were supposed to. Yes, you did. That's why it lasted that long. You really think it would have lasted 12 years like that if I was so mean and cruel and doing all the things that this girl was trying to put out there? No, there ain't no way. With her attitude, no. Wow.